So, game number 1 of today was an interesting one to me, for sure. We'll toss up the plane path. Nothing to it. Somewhat eastern, but that's about it. Navi, they've been going North George when they've had the chance to do that, like with the planes coming up here, whatever direction from up here. And they've gone Prim when the planes gone down to that. Snake, on the other hand, they've been going West Coast when they have had a plane for that. And then on planes like these, they have gone Novo. So not a whole lot of surprises there. They're gonna spread out like anyone else. Circle going somewhat north, like the one that we saw in game number 5 yesterday. Other than that, not a whole lot of surprises in that either. Really, it was pretty straightforward when it comes to that. So you see elite player extremely early on. Actually, he's gonna start rotating out. Whoops. No. Stop. There you go. He's gonna rotate out from where they're sitting to go loot the compound. This is gonna allow for M19 take up some. We talked about yesterday. We talked about the highways, right? Like the highways we have up to the northern area of the map. There you go. Here you go. And then when it was a northeastern circle, like up here, you also have like the whole path up here. But M19 is gonna secure himself this area of the map by taking this compound, essentially. Or at least it will allow for his team to rotate on up there, because I believe Samty and the guys that heard him driving like over here and up. Now Noah becomes the first guy around. James right behind him. He's gonna follow. You see James trying to go up and take some. They want to scout forward. They heard that M19 sent a player up before them, so they of course want to get up there before they get completely isolated. And then James tries to scout out the compound down here. Everyone else still kind of in their loot phase. OMG rotating early like they always do. Actually surprising to me that OMG rotates as early as they do. Now Samty comes up as well. Constantine rotates up to elite player. They've kind of got their compound locked down. Knights, they make their rotation up around the edge. Take the area up here. Samty again split, so they're in a 3-1 split, making that a 2-2. And all of a sudden, here comes Secret. Fiend, for some reason, drives over to Samty. I understand that they wanted to have a 2-2 split as well, but when you have doubles already, there's not really any reason for you at all to have a guy sitting in the yellow house. So I'm not sure exactly what their plan was with that. Base coming in late, they're gonna go up over the top, I believe, and then like either they're gonna go all the way over Stalper, like up here, or they're gonna go underneath and then up. But they end up going far up north. Snake, they're rotating out of Novo. Vitality rotating out. NIP, they're sitting in here, and I believe actually this is where it gets interesting, because yesterday we saw the scenario where NIP, they were rotating in. It was a circle over here, something like this. NIP was rotating in and they were sitting on yellows. Up comes Pokemoldoi all by himself. Gets taken out. That was really unfortunate. So now Navi says, you know what, we're not gonna rotate over yellows anymore. We'll go over North George Bridge up here. And look who's still sitting up here, right? It was just I don't think any of the teams end up taking casualties because of this. It's just kind of interesting that now Navi, they go north to avoid here. And also, I mean, Navi, they loot North George, right? From time to time. So they know they are not going to meet anybody up here. They saw a team jump out. When they jumped out down here, they saw a team jump out towards Novo. So they know that the Snake team isn't Sarky, which have been 1 or 2 times as well. So they should know, like, as long as NIP isn't in the way, which they don't think they will be since they saw them down here in the other game, then they should have a very free rotation. So in the end, I believe they all get over without any casualties. You see, there you go, battle in spots. NIP drive over, they'll go over behind them. In the end, not really anything too scary. You know, all of that. Circle starts closing on in. New circle pops. It goes west. Pretty interesting. For the teams that are sitting on the east now, teams like Knights, teams like M19, teams like Ghost, Base for that sake, how do they, like, what can they do from here to get on into the circle? What can these teams do from this eastern position to get in? Considering the fact that for M19, all they've been able to scout is that they looted here and they've driven up here. They can't really scout anything further because of their position. So they won't have any info on anything in here. They could go back, but then they would have to re-scout everything, not knowing if there was other teams on the south. So what does a team like them do? Knights even more so. They came even further up north. They can scout further forward up here, but it's going to be really hard for them to see anything that goes on like this far out. Think about that for a second. I love ice cream. So what we end up seeing, essentially, is that FaZe, they go north of Severny. They're sitting up here, they spot Severny, there's no one in there, they can go over there without any real issues. Cloud9, they go pretty much straight center. Ghost, they go underneath the Alamo. They can sit up here, they've been scouting down towards Alamo, see no one's there, they can go underneath there. Knights, they sent it straight in as well, knowing that Divine is in this area because they've been fighting them in that area yesterday. Now Knights, they get sent around a little, but they in the end do manage to get themselves a position. Drayden gets knocked, Voxic goes back, Kramer and Texas drives back towards them as well. They have the dip down here on the side that they end up utilizing. Snake, smart rotation. I mean, they decide to go all the way underneath. Again, they came up like this, they came in late to the circle, then it pops over here and they say, you know what, let's just drive safe all the way underneath and then we'll take a spot on the southern side. They could even cross if they wanted to, considering that there's no one down here. And they have plenty of positions from over here where they can scout over. So smart play coming in from Snake. Honestly, I think Snake, they have probably not the best rotations because they don't, but they're, I mean, at least as far as what we've seen in the tournament up until this point, they have been up there with some of the best teams on how they have been rotating up until this point. Honestly, they've been doing a let me see. Yeah, they've been doing really good. So Snake, they sit up here, try and scout further forward, make sure nothing happens. Circles comes closing on in. Snake, they drive over, they take control of Cube. Everybody kind of laying low, waiting for the new circles pop. Navi ends up taking some shots from, I believe that would be Atletico, trying to shoot down towards them. They have like the ridge up here overlooking Divine's position. Again, Divine is still split. This is what cost them the victory potentially in, was it day one or yesterday? I don't remember. But where they had two guys down here, one guy here and one guy over here, right? Where they never got together in time to win that game. I think it was on day one. They never really got together in time to win that game. All right. They forced that split that they had for way too long, and in the end they just got overrun. Mohammed, thank you so much for the follow. I hope that you are enjoying the game breakdowns that we're gonna be doing. So they're split 2-2, kind of off split from each other. Keep it in mind. Remember this. Not sitting together right now, even though there are teams in between them, kind of, right? So circle comes closing in, as we see. And now as the new circle pops, boom. It hard shifts north, which means not only do we know that it's not going to go on the southern side, Vitality kept one guy here in case they had to swing back. Smart in the end from them. But it hard shifts north. Now we know for a fact it's going to be on the north side of the water, obviously. And also we know that for any teams that were sitting on the edge before, they will have to push into the compound. But there's just one thing in the way here, and this is where like what it gets really interesting, because look at the northern side. All you have up here is 4 members of VG Gaming, and this area right here kind of becomes a big roadblock, because normally what you want to do when you have these northern rotations of the circle, or like northern shifts of the circle, if you're edge team, you want to go towards the most narrow, and then you want to get in from there. Want to go towards narrow and get in from there. In the northeastern corner, you have Severny. You don't want to drive through that. In the northwestern corner, you have this huge open bumpy field that you don't want to drive through either. And if you come up from the north and you go down like into the circle, what do you go to? Like, where do you go? With this specific area of the map, you can't really go anywhere. You could set yourself up on the top of the ridge here, but you'll just be taking fire from all the teams that are sitting down. Your vehicles will get destroyed. It would not benefit you at all. And also, this shooting range area right here is not really the greatest place to bring in vehicles. What's going on? Hey, Grim, there you go. 6 months. Grim with the golden microphone.
A-Y-Y-Y.
A-Y-Y-Y. 6 months, Grim. Has it really been a half year already? Time sure flies by fast. Welcome, buddy. We're doing a in-depth analysis of today's games. Thank you so much for the resub. You know it means a lot. Everybody say hi to Grim if you don't know him already. No, but nonetheless, people want to come up and go in from the north, right? This is a roadblock that you don't want to bring your vehicles into, which essentially means that for a team that would normally do this, they're forced to only be able to do this. You can't really go above it. You can't really go above shooting range and bring your vehicles down, because this is a huge uphill here. And I mean, this is all uphill here as well in this direction, right? So you can't really do that with your vehicles, because you'll just be sitting in a ball of death down here. So the only team that can really play around this area is gonna be VG Gaming. They're taking a lot of fire, both from FaZe, from Secret, and from, not yet, but NIP will start shooting down at them at some point too. But just keep in mind that VG right now, they're sitting completely isolated on the northern side of the circle. Keep that in mind. And again, also keep in mind that Divine, even though the new circle has popped, haven't found each other yet. For some reason, they're still sitting split 2-2 the way that they are. And this is interesting, because Levis and Nixie, they know that Atletico, they're on the, what do you call it? Like on the ridge outside the compound. And I think that's what's keeping Jet and the last player from Divine to, like, from pushing up, because they know for a fact they have OMG in here. And they also have guys here. Now they do finally commit to the push, and somehow they manage to get inside the compound. Fortunately for them, they do manage to do so. In the meantime, all these teams that were on the eastern side, we talked about M19, we talked about Ghost. Ghost, they decide to stick to like an underneath push, try to go up and fight 4 AM. M19, they say, you know what, YOLO, and they set it straight into the doubles. Right here, you see it actually. They're sitting up on the hill. We can just slow it down a bit. I believe it's Constantine was the first guy. No, yeah, Constantine, an example. They don't take shots. They only get shot at to begin with from Ibiza and Samty. GMC is still sitting inside the compound. And all of a sudden, it just becomes a cluster. Like, it becomes extremely chaotic. And M19 goes out in last place, unfortunately for them. Knights, they do manage to drive up above. In the meantime, the guys from VG Gaming, they have taken northern control up here. So Knights, they're right now stuck inside... stuck inside of Severny. Navi, from their position, they were 4 guys up when they came up here. And 11, sorry I didn't say hi. Hi, buddy. 11, Navi, they were sitting in a pretty decent spot, but they were, it's just like we talked about yesterday. We talked about yesterday how Navi, they were in a position where they could spread out and take control. But instead of doing that, like make some room for themselves. But instead of doing that, they just hide down, play it safe. But that means that FaZe, they can take shots down at them. Divine, if they peek up here, they can take shots down at them. NIP will shoot at them. I believe VG Gaming had a few shots up towards them with the Kar 98s as well. They just trapped themselves in that area. And within a very short amount of time, I believe it's just Sadovnik or Battle in the end remaining, because they just constantly get picked off by all these other teams. Ghost, they're committed to the breach onto 4 AM. Rapported. What do you mean? What do you mean? Ghost, they commit to the push onto 4 AM. I guess it makes sense. I mean, they heard all the fire and stuff going on up here, and you can't really push here because this is like a huge open area. So where would you go from here? Did they have to go here? I don't know. Could they have driven underneath? Maybe. But in the end, they do decide to crash the compound, and they get all the kills and secure it. So that's, I mean, in the end, that makes sense. Unfortunately, Vitality, they hear about it, of course. Snake, they try to push up again, spotting Atletico up here. That's not gonna help them a whole lot. Circle once again shifts, and now we have a new situation again. This shooting range is still very much a factor. You cannot come in from the northern side and go through. All you can do is go underneath or go around. You cannot even run through this area, really. It's like when you come, it's as if this whole area right here, I'm just gonna draw it up for you. This whole area, maybe actually all the way out here, it's like a no-go zone. It's like a big block. I guess you heard story of PUBG Online? No? Should I hear something about PUBG Online? Announcements. I'm looking at all the info. Like, I don't see any tweets from PUBG Online. Their latest tweet, the 13th, is that they will have a Black Ops tournament. Or is it in here? No. I had not seen that. That's unfortunate. I guess I wasn't expecting. I mean, when I heard that they were gonna do a league, I was happy, but I was never expecting it. So I guess this doesn't come as much of a surprise. To be honest. There you go, ice cream done. They have cancelled the European League. I think they'll still do NA League, but they've cancelled the EU version. Back to the game. This area is not an area you want to be in. Yeah, it is sad, but I mean, I was never expecting them to make one to begin with, so I guess it's not that surprising. And there's really not that many days to pick for games now anyway. So I understand through their reasoning that it's really hard to schedule everything. VG, they decide to go west around. Makes sense. Cloud9, they're sitting down here. Secret is down here as well. It's two different teams. You can't really see it with the colors. That's another thing that I'm hoping to get implemented with this software. That I can change the colors of whatever color I want the teams to have. Anyway, FaZe starts shooting down at VG. Ghost, they full on, and I'm not sure what this push is, but they're sitting in the compound, 4 guys alive. And instead of just slowly getting inside the circle, like maybe driving up here and then running in, they decide to just, I think it's Balak who drives the lead. Yeah, Balak and McCoy, they drive first, and they just smash straight through Liquid. And I think McCoy tried to run over Samty, but unfortunately that doesn't end up happening, and they get taken down. Just Balak and Frolier manages to survive. James, thank you so much for the follow. Vitality, they swoop around the backside of Atletico. Hard push by them, but now they find themselves trapped in between Snakes and Atletico. Could come to be dangerous for them. Knights, they're in all worlds of trouble. I believe Frolic almost had 1,000 damage this game, actually. He was shooting in a lot of directions. At this point, when I watched the game today, at this point, I wrote in the Twitch chat, VG is gonna get second place. I could just see exactly what was gonna happen here. I just wrote, like, no matter where the circle goes, VG is gonna get second place this game. I think it was about at this point, because it was right before Cloud9 and Team Secret started fighting. Because if the circle goes north, all these teams will try to go around the sides down, and it's gonna be utter chaos. If the circle goes south, all these teams will try to go down the side or down the side, and it's gonna be utter chaos. And then while they're fighting, VG can just sneak their way through the middle. If it's gonna go center, all the teams will try and come in from each their respective side, and while they're focusing on getting in, nobody will have time to focus down on VG, and they'll be able to make their way in from down here. So if they can just avoid getting knocked, then there's not really a whole lot other teams can do. So as this circle comes into a close, as we see right here, circle closes right about, there you go. Vitality gets eliminated. Great plays from Atletico. New circle pops, and it goes over Navi. So Divine, they still have their compound in. It's far out on the edge though. NIP and Liquid, they start fighting. OMG kinda try to engage in it too, but they also want to stay in their compound, so they don't really do that. Cloud9 and Secret, they start their little fight over here. FaZe realize, okay, we have to push forward, but we need to clear our entire side first, so they start fighting Snakes at some point soon. And VG do the exact smart thing. They just go further up inside. And at this point, I started to get a little scared for VG, because you can see now Atletico, they try to drive into the circle. They're going straight by the compound, not sure exactly what they were thinking. And half of them get eliminated. I believe Neverhor goes down in a second as well. There you go, he goes down. My Clutch goes down, and now Hefa is all by himself. Snake gets eliminated by FaZe. And at this point, I was like, damn it, guys, I told you not to engage. And VG comes over, because they saw the fight between Cloud9 and Secret. And they come over to third party, and they end up taking out Secret. Cloud9, fortunately, decides to back off and go up the hill. So VG can just go back back to center. I believe they go back in the middle somewhere, yeah. And now, this is where it becomes interesting, because as the new circle pops, and this is all for those you guys who don't know, like from around the area here, I would say from here on around, maybe something like this, everything here is downhill towards shooting range. So everybody is playing on an incline, right? Meaning that if you're down here and you're trying to look up, it's hard to spot people. The only way you can really spot people easily would be if you're sitting here shooting at someone who's on this side. And as you can see with the levels, there's not really anyone in positions to do that. Then it should be NIP and Sadovnik maybe, but there are so many bumps and stuff on the hills here that you can't really see a whole lot. So for any team to kind of sort of be able to do that, it becomes very tricky. Nonetheless, FaZe, they try to take all of the control over here, and they actually have success in doing so. They try to make sure nobody's up here. They try to take some shots down towards VG. I believe Mollyboy actually got pretty active with the Kar98, or was it Morningstar? I don't remember. Getting some good knocks with the Kar98 onto FaZe. We see Ghost, they get eliminated by NIP as they try to push forward. Profi and Nerf are forced to make them move inside the circle too. And at this point, Divine, they're still playing the compound. They know that it's going to be on the edge. They know they have to push out at some point. And I tweeted about this yesterday too. These guys, they're really smart at figuring out when to leave compounds. Knowing the importance of hard cover and not overstaying. Because if you stay too long, then other teams will just sit up out here. And then as soon as you try to come out, boom, they'll just shoot you. But they force away teams by keeping them at bay with shooting. And then they, when they find the sweet spot, they leave the compound. So smart play coming in from them. Circle comes to a close. NIP gets taken out by OMG. Still 4 guys alive. Cloud9 try to sneak their way up. And as Divine saw OMG get the finish on to NIP, that's when I say, oh, that means that they're over here. Now we can make a run out. Smart play. Once again, really smart play coming in from Divine. Cloud9 try to come up on third party OMG as Divine and OMG are fighting. It doesn't go the way they wanted to. They get taken out. OMG gets eliminated as well. Great playing coming in from Divine, considering that they had Levy's actually still sitting and trying to hold off. He was still trying to hold off 8C. And then we get the YOLO play from, I believe that it's Jet. I'm not quite sure, but somebody takes a vehicle from Divine and runs over Sadovnik. Like, he just wants to get down to the rock that he's sitting by. Or is it 2-ons? Okay, he just wants to get down to the rock that he's sitting by and he just runs him over with the car. That was actually pretty interesting. Like, he didn't know he was at that rock, but Sadovnik peeks out as he comes driving in and he just plows him over. It was pretty entertaining. VG, they have a really nice ridge down here. And I heard the casters commentate that, or comment that they were disappointed. I don't remember exactly what they said, but something like they were disappointed that VG didn't take more control when they got the knock on Phosphase or something like that. But the thing is, the position that they're sitting in down here, there's a big, here's the ridge down towards shooting range. Then you have a bit of a sort of a decline up this way, and then up here it goes uphill again. So they're kind of sitting in their own little hill, isolated from all of these players. And I mean, they're inside the circle here, right? So they don't really have to push forward. And for them to then push downhill here and take this area from which they would be able to get shot at from anyone, that would just have been suicide, and they would have gotten 4th instead of, well, the 2nd place, I believe they get this game. So, kind of contradictory there, I think. I think it's super smart that they never push out from here. Even though on the minimap it would seem like, why are they just hiding in the corner? Well, they actually had a good position down here to play from, and it was inside the circle too. So Divine, they have 3 players left. They played really, really well. Mexi tries to get Phosphase back up, but they realize that's not going to happen. So Phosphase just tries to crawl on forward for info. He gets taken down in the end. Mexi then realizes, oh, well, I mean, I cannot just sit here because I might as well try and see if I can get some points for my team. So he tries to run underneath at some point to see if he can secure himself some kills. I believe he spots out both Morningstar and Bite Me Now. Gets down 1, gets down number 2, and then as he tries to come down to get down Ovo, the guys from Divine take him out. In the end, Ovo gets taken out as well from down behind the vehicle, and that's game number 1. So looking back at it, like at how we were up here, there you go. The guys from VG, they played it perfectly. Every time anyone tried to peek down on them when we got face down here and looked like they looked down towards them, they were just constantly in positions from which they could play it smart. You see, as soon as the new circle pops, they already have Mollyboy on the rotation up forward. Already making his run up. He was expecting the circle to go away from them. He's already on his way up, and he takes a little decline in the hill there. Like, takes a little dip they have to play around up there. And from this position, they can't really get shot at from the side either. So really smart play from VG getting 2nd place that game. It was a little overshadowed by everything else that happened, unfortunately. But that, I mean, as an observer, you can only focus on so many things, right? So that was, yeah, that was game number 1. Interesting one. Did you guys, if you have any questions, please do let me know. I'm all about at least trying to answer whatever questions you may have. Do let me know. Give me 1 second. I just have to read this real quick. That was weird music. Yeah, so game number 1 in the books. Let's send it over to game number 2. I think if we can find it. Was this game number 2? Oh no, now it's bugging out again. Fresh. There you go. So, again, if you guys have any questions, do let me know whenever you need any questions answered. Plane goes north. Again, pretty simple. Snake got out early. They got this area. No, Navi didn't get the plane for Prim, so they go North George. Pretty straightforward. Both these teams kind of have 2 places that they can drop, so and they do that. Circle is fair. Completely fair, I'd say, honestly. And this is where things get a little interesting. Because I keep saying that. But look at NIP, how early they send out NBS to scout. I mean, they've just landed, right? Circle has just popped. We're about 1 minute, 3 minutes maybe into the game. And NBS already goes center to try and take a position. Just showing the importance of getting these compounds early on. OMG from down here, they went up here in the previous games, so to be expected that they would do that here as well. They do decide to do that. K-Mind drives up by NBS. Try and sit up here and scout down towards the compound. Moody goes up there as well. Now Navi comes in also. So a lot of teams around this area. In the end, Moody and K-Mind decides to go back because NBS, he starts shooting at them and they take the compound from which they won the game yesterday. Like, they had a really good game from that position yesterday. Navi decide to push up. I mean, the NIP decide to push up on Navi. They come up, they get 1 kill. But then back off as they lost a player themselves as well. Realizes it's not really worth the push. Ghost, this was extremely confusing to me. So, Ghost, they set up a bridge camp. Not something you see too often. But McCoy and Balak, they set up and waiting for Vitality down here, right? Okay, so Shadow comes across. He's the first guy rotating. So he flies straight into the water. That makes perfect sense. And Jazza stops because of it. Yannick stopped as well. But Monkey, I don't know if he didn't have his headset on at the time. But the fact that he just sends it immediately after, I gotta get up to my French teammate, and then gets killed. That was just like, wait, What? Did you not hear in the comms that you shouldn't be there at all? That was just extremely confusing to me. Like the fact that they went up there the way that they did. Must have been a communication breach or something. Secret are doing their interesting splits yet again. Base, they're rotating on over. 8C knocks himself. That's not what we want to have happen, but he'll get rest. Knights, they're gonna start their rotation in as well. M19, they decide not to go above, but go underneath this time around. Will make their way down towards where Knights are. They'll actually go even further, I believe, south around. Snake goes above alongside Smithy from Secret, even though the remaining Secret players are far down south, so I'm not sure what he's doing up here. I mean, if you look at the positioning from Secret, you have Smithy or Smitty up here. Then you have the other guys, they came from up here. And then you have Paranga, who's already down in this position. And I believe actually they all managed to get over here somehow. I just don't remember how they got there to begin with. Paranga gets knocked, and now all the other guys have to figure out, is it really worth it for us to try and go down there? Noah and Fiend, they try to make their way down. They actually managed to do that. Pretty impressive. Smithy drives all the way north of Everest, underneath, goes in, and then comes up to his teammate. Pretty pretty impressive rotation, to say the least. And somehow they all managed to find each other up there. Face once again, and we saw that yesterday as well. They once again go inside of Pachinki. Normally you say, oh, cities, stay away, you do not want to go to them whatsoever, but Face defies that and actually positions themselves inside of AS9. Unfortunately for them, as you can see here, the circle does favor that area of the map. So Navi now on their rotation, looking to go down towards the red 2 story that they played around the day before. Secret follows along, but turns around in the end, realizing, well, that's taken already. Let's not let's not try and go down and do anything there. Ghost, they're sitting on the southern side. Knights, they're trying to cut across, but that's not gonna happen because they're driving straight on into M19. I believe that they all get swooped here. Texas is gonna be the last remaining player on their team. Secret will try and rotate on in. I'm not sure exactly why they want to go in here, but they do, and they all get eliminated. I mean, there were 4 guys breaching, and 2 guys held them off. That just goes to show that it probably wasn't the best push that you could possibly make. Ghost, they do decide to take the compound down here, and it makes sense. I mean, you can only scout that far yet, right? So you have a team sitting here. They scout down to the compound, take this, and then from here they can try and scout further forward. They will probably realize that yellows are open, but everything else is kind of limited, especially considering that you have this huge mountain right here that you can't really look over or through in any way. Other than that, everything kind of dies down for a second. Vitality, they finally come in. They've been late to the game, but they've made their way across. They lost 2 players, and now they're finally up on the side here. So once again, circle goes towards Pachinki, and now teams have to make their rotations. This is where it gets not necessarily interesting, but really, what do you call it? Crowded. Because again, teams, they do not want to go inside of Yasnaya, the little pizza city down here. Ghost decide to take a position up on Pachinki Hill. Alongside OMG, they come crashing on up. He gets taken down immediately. Avicii Gaming, they try to make their way up towards the hill. They're gonna get into a pretty much straight on 4v4 fight with Ghost. And this is super smart because look at this. OMG, they send 1 guy up. He gets eliminated immediately. At the meantime, the remaining players from Ghost, they spot that Avicii Gaming, they're going the exact same direction, right? So they sit around, they wait for that to happen. Atletico sees this as well. So these 2 teams, they see all this happening up here, and as soon as these 2 teams, Ghost and Avicii, starts fighting, they utilize that to make it all the way around. Extremely smart, honestly. Extremely smart plays coming in from both VG and Atletico in that situation. OMG decides to go inside the city. Actually, no, they go around and they set up on the on the eastern side. Atletico, they take it a little slower. They sit up on the hills that decides to play edge instead of going inside the city. Snakes, smart rotation coming from them as well. They had their vehicles down here. I think they parked their vehicles up here. And then they push down on foot. But as they hear all the shots fired through, like between Divine and Liquid, they realize, well, if there's no way that we can push in here, bring our vehicles without taking a ton of fire. So as all these teams start fighting each other, 4 AM gets in on the fight as well. They realize, oh, there's a lot of teams fighting. How about instead, if we go back and take it all the way around and come in from over here? Because now they see these guys pushing down and engaging on a fight. That means that this entire side is open. And as the circle starts closing on in, they decide to rotate around. And this is all while the OMG push happens as well. So really smart play coming in from Snake TC. Again, smart rotations from them. We haven't seen them have that much success in team fights, but the rotations have been pretty clever. Sorry for yawning. Liquid, they end up a little trapped out here outside the compound. They have Samty inside the compound, inside the 3-story, up against the entirety of 4 AM. Clouds, he goes over to, I still don't know what to call this place. It's like an entrance to a bunker, but there isn't a bunker. So it's a little interesting position. But nonetheless, he goes over here to get get a better position. Vitality, try and push across this way. Ghost, look at what they're doing. M19. Actually, this happens before. So they're all sitting in the 3-story down here, M19. I believe they got one person knocked from a Ghost member. And then they all take their vehicles and drive around as well. And we all know that Yasnaya fields are complete and utter crap to drive around in. But they all make it up here. And they decide to, well, just send it straight into Vitality. At first, it's just Example that rams it or pulls up on the compound. But as he starts taking fire and he doesn't get knocked, all of the other guys push on down as well. And then all of a sudden, it's from a 4v1. Like, had Jessa and Yannick, had they been able to knock Example quickly, then I don't think M19 would have pushed down. Sorry for yawning. I don't think that M19 would have pushed down had they gotten the knock onto him quickly. So fortunate, I guess you can say, that that doesn't happen. Example is able to stall the fight for long enough, and they do manage to get both the kills onto Vitality. In the meantime, Ghost doing the exact same thing, rotating underneath. Again, Ghost is playing on the edge all the time. They'll continue to do so here. They hear all the fighting, but they decide to go around. Smart from them. Navi, they try to go in dead center. That's not going to work out for them at all. Liquid alongside Face take them out, and I believe Divine actually helped on that as well. Now Ibiza all by himself, he gets spotted out by, I think it's Nikki, at least it's one of the Divine players. He gets knocked there, and then he gets finished off as well. Profi and Cloud9, they try to swoop underneath. I mean, they, again, you do not want to be inside of a city if you can avoid it. That's why you see Atletico and the guys from FaZe as well sit far out on the edges. Like, they do not want to sit inside of the cities here. So in the case of Divine and their position, they're sitting really, really well out here. Even with this circle, they don't really have to do anything. There are so many small dips here that they can play around, and because you don't have a team sitting up here actively looking down, they don't really have any threats at all, because 4 AM they cannot spend time looking out here knowing that Samty is inside the compound, because if they do look out those windows where they can see out in that area, Samty will be able to spot them as well. Atletico go across the road. They end up sending all their guys in the US over here. Over behind there's like a broken what do you call it, semi-truck down here somewhere. And this is a push that I like a lot. So they send Jet inside the circle. He takes the little roll down here so he can look inside this way. In the meantime, they send Nikki down to the rocks I don't know why these are like some of the only rocks in the game that are really marked this way, alongside some of the other ones, I guess. No, but he goes down to the rocks here to try and see if he can contain anyone coming through here, and also so he can look up towards the hill, because right now this leaves 2-1s on Leo. He's not completely vulnerable, but somewhat vulnerable. Maro, thank you for the follow. Somewhat vulnerable. M19 try to push down. They start taking a lot of fire. They all get exploded pretty much by clouds. And as the new circle pops after this one, look at how the guys from Divine, they decide to split it. And this is where I think Divine just plays it really well. There's still 4 guys alive. I don't think they have a single... They have 1 kill at this point on to a pizza, I think. I think that's their only kill they got all the... Like in the beginning of the game at all. Next circle goes south. What do you do here if you're Divine? I want to hear from you guys. What would be the play to make from this position if you're Divine? Do you slowly go in to crash the compound to try and go underneath and contain these people? Or how would you play it? They have all their vehicles available, and they know that a team is fighting in here. Think about it for a second. Because I like what they do. And I'll show you what they do, even more so. What ends up happening is that they send Levi over towards Nikki. Now they're in a 2-2 split, right? Then they send him further on up towards the like the hillside inside the circle. So he's now in on the edge. As soon as he gets in, he smokes off, like he throws smokes over here, so that these guys, they cannot see the other guys. Jet comes in, he drives even further in, drives further forward. Jet comes in, he smokes off Levi, so he can push up. Then Nikki comes across. He gets in there as well. All of a sudden, there are 3 guys in. They throw even more smokes. And now 2-1s can get up here as well. Just picture perfect. 1 by 1. Making smart rotations. Trying to get inside the circle. Really, really great play from Divine there. Unfortunately, it comes to bite them in the butt in the end, because they don't have any more smokes when they have to fight face. But we'll cover that when we get to it. Samty all by himself. Circle is pushing on in. He's in a rough position down there. He's gonna get taken out eventually. Balak goes down. McCoy still crawling around in the field. Face have 3 guys alive. I believe it's Fussface got killed early this game, I think. Yeah, Fussface. Hey, Kungsholmen, how are you doing? Samty is outside the circle. Gonna die eventually. K-Mind and Moody, they try to go in and take just not center control, but like just get inside the circle and play it safe from there. There you go. Samty goes down. Moody gets eliminated as well. Face, they push up over the top and they take down K-Mind. You see McCoy went down there as well. And this is actually where I would think, because right now Divine, they're in a 2-way split. They have 2 guys focusing on all of 4 AM over here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 guys alive from 4 AM still. You have 2 guys from Divine looking over there. And then you have 2 guys from Divine looking up towards Face. I mean, they just heard Cloud9 get eliminated. And this is where I thought that either you just disengage this, go back, and then take a 4-man fight against Face. That doesn't end up happening. Because look at what happens. It's the other way around. These guys, they disengage. They go back towards their teammates and say, we would rather fight 4 AM first and then fight Face later. So they disengage. They go back down the hill, down towards the other guys. Now they're in a 4v4 against 4 AM, and I believe Mexi and Yemti, they do some damage down towards 4 AM as well. So they quickly get them eliminated. And now, because all these guys have pushed down here, Jet has the opportunity to come out and do a flank onto Face. Only thing being, I think it happened a bit too late. You can see now he's moving up, but they're already on their way back now. Had he pushed up this way as they came down here, he could have been all the way up here by now, and then he could have shot at them while they were crossing the road. But because he stalled it probably a bit too late, it's like he ends up in a position where he can't really do a whole lot. So he thinks that he's the flanker now. He thinks that they're all down here. All of a sudden, EMT comes from above him and takes him out. Or is it Nikki that goes down first? I can't really remember it. But they both get taken out. Yeah, it's the Nikki that goes down, and then Jet goes down immediately after. All of a sudden, their 4v3 becomes a 2v3 because Yemti had the better flank. So Jet tried to flank initially, and then you had what is his name? Nikki try to come above that, but Mexi was already way over that. Had Jet been down here earlier, he would have seen, like, had he been here, which he could have been had he run earlier, GMT would never have been allowed to run underneath him. Thank you for the host prize. He would never have been allowed to run underneath him. So in that sense, it was a bit mistimed by Jet, but in the end, smart play from FaZe. And this is just, I mean, when you're in a 1v1 against a full FaZe team, it's just no matter who you are, odds are that FaZe will win those fights. So in the end, I mean, they win game number 1, Divine, and they get second place game number 2. That's a pretty good job by them, not gonna lie. Pretty impressively played by Divine. What was that? That was game number 2. First phase, 0 damage done. Feels bad, man. 8C, almost 1,000 damage. That's pretty well done by him. Now let's see. There we go. And now we come into the fun one. This is what we have. 3. Go, give me 1 second.
Inside my head, there's a little place left for you. What do you know? What do you know? And all I want is to find out what you're going through. What do I know? Maybe the silence is dangerous.
Again, guys, if you have any questions, do let me know. Okay, let's get ready with game number 3. Last Erankle game of today. And if those of you guys who watched it, remember there was the game where what are they called? Cloud9, they really popped off. So playing, pretty straightforward. Straight on over. Not too much to it. Navi, again. This is where the plane is accessible. This is where they will go. And it's gonna be kind of annoying for teams that are like looting this area of the map every time, that they never really know what they're up against. But I guess they can plan accordingly when they see the plane path, that they will know whether Navi and Snake will go in that area or if they'll split elsewhere. The plane, pretty straightforward, not a whole lot to it. Fortunate, I guess you can say, for both Snake and Navi that they go down here, considering that the circle is here as well. For all the other teams, though, not so much. And this, I mean, I tried to defend Secret in what they did, placement-wise. Not placement-wise, but like where they went. Because look at this. Noah is over here. They have 2 guys in Severny. And then they have this guy over here. Quite honestly, does not make a whole lot of sense. And it really doesn't. I was thinking that the only reason it could, like, I was really trying to find a reason for it to make sense. And the only reason I could come up with was that every time Secret has been trying to rotate out of Severny, no matter where they've been forced to go, they've had a hard time. I mean, even in the circles, even in the circles that were up by Severny, like even these circles, they could not figure out how to play it. So I figured maybe the reason could be that they don't want to rotate with 4 guys together. Gaming Pro 2, thank you so much for the follow. Maybe maybe they don't want to rotate with 4 guys together. Maybe it simply takes up too much space. So if they're more, what do you say, comfortable rotating by themselves, Noah can rotate from over here. Paranga can rotate from over here, depending on where they want to go. And then Smithy and Fiend can rotate whichever way they will from up here. That would be one thing. And also, I mean, there's so much room to rotate on this map because teams are kind of what do you say, not stuck in their compounds, but they're like, they will take a place and then they'll stay there. And more often than not, they will take the same places game after game. So if you do some research, you would know which routes could be open to rotate on. So in that sense, I guess it does make sense, but it's just so far-fetched from everything, or from anything we ever see. So this would, like, under any other circumstances, not make sense at all. And it still kind of doesn't, but I at least tried to try to find a reason for it to make sense. So circle is well, I mean, it's not even started closing in yet, but teams are already rotating. You saw Atletico, they got themselves 1 kill. They will be able to play around that. Paranka. Now, I mean, this is the interesting thing, right? Because this guy, he looted down here. Or was it down here? Doesn't really matter. He's in so early, and he still doesn't really manage to find a good spot. Essentially, he drives around in circles around Snake. They even shoot at him. And then he commits to the compound anyway, and he gets taken out. Yeah, so a lot of things going on that I don't really understand. But nonetheless, teams rotating on over Potato Hill. Liquid tries to go into the compound. OMG is already there. They're forced out. And then they're sitting in the forest instead. And they realize, you know what, we don't want to be down here. We'll go up further north. And then as they go into the shack, Mister tries to nade it as they see a bike outside, or is it a buggy? I don't remember. Heva is obviously in there. He comes out, he gets the knock onto Mister. Samsy tries to come down and make a hero play. They do get the finish off onto the guy, but unfortunately Mister goes down trying to crawl away to safety. Base, once again, going inside of Pachinki. Not something you see too often, but they've had success with it before. Might as well just rotate on through here. Now as they come up the hill, run into Cloud9. And they, I mean, here it just looked really quickly, but they have a little bit of a firefight going on, and 8C goes down. They manage to disengage, and they drive on around in the end. So, new circle pops. It goes south to the field, 4 shack field, I call this. Because there are 4 of these, like pretty much on a straight line. 1, 2, 3, 4. What program? It's I'm glad that I haven't had that question that many times today. It's a program made by these guys, Other Productions, that I'm testing out for them. So it's not a program that's available to anyone really yet. Yeah, you cannot have it. Oh, no worries, AOC. Welcome, man. Welcome. It is extremely handy for post-game analysis. It is really handy. And I can go in and look at all games that I want. Like, all games are in here. So, I can watch PGI, Star Ladder, everything is listed in here. M19, they come underneath. They try to go in and take some center control in the forest. Ghost, they're already there. This becomes a fight that none of them really want, but in the end, I believe M19 wins it. But what else? What better for Vitality, then say, ooh, look at this, the kill feed's popping off, all these guys are getting murdered. Let's go up and engage. So at this point, Ghost has just been eliminated. I think they got 11th place, or no, even worse than that, 15th place, I think. M19, they're now sitting and healing. And what better timing for Vitality to push up and completely plow them down than that. And they take them down extremely quickly. There you go. M19 eliminated again. They got eliminated early last game as well. Keep that in mind. Oh no, not last game, but the first game of today. So they had 2 really horrible games today on the Rankle, unfortunately for them. VG sitting north, Knights sitting north. Everything else is, I mean, when you look at this split right now, you have, you could say, 3.5 teams south of the field, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams north of the field. Like if you make a spread around this field here, right? And now, as you guys probably remember, if you saw the games, the next circle. Oh, we actually have 4 AM down here as well. I forgot about that. It goes far south. Boom. There you go. And this was interesting because people in the chat and the casters as well, they were saying how horrible this circle was. And when you look at it like this, it looks pretty damn shitty. I agree with that. But had this circle down here been up here instead, for the teams that were south, it would have been completely impossible to do anything. Like, they would never have been able to push up here. They would have to go through the field, and they would have to get up these, like, it's a forest area, but the trees are very far apart. So it would be very hard for them to take any sort of ground up here. All these compounds would have been taken, and for the teams that come in last, there would just not be any room to go up there. At least down here on the southern side, like in this forest area, the trees are so much closer together so that you can, and there's so many more dips and hills, so that you can, with vehicles and stuff, just smash into the forest, jump out quickly, smoke yourself off, and then get at least some sort of a position to play around. So look at this, new circle pops, and what happens immediately? This was like the freaking crazy big highway coming down here, like in this direction. All these teams are just trying to get inside the forest. Some teams went even further down. OMG went down into Ferry Pier. 4 AM went into Ferry Pier. OMG then backs off. I believe Knights, they come down here as well. I actually really like this. This was also kind of not overshadowed, but I mean, it was a little, because there were like so many teams driving here, and it was extremely hilarious to watch. Look at what Knights do. Take a look at Knights, how they decide to rotate. So new circle pops. Everyone's gonna start driving down like this, right? Watch what Knights do. As the only team. Extremely smart rotation from them. Honestly, really, 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 really smart rotation from Knights. Those are the kind of rotations that I love to see. Just overall, perfectly played rotation. All these teams tried to crash in. They knew that with the position they had before, they were not going to be the first team to get in, because if they want to go down here, they have to either drive this way and down, or over here and in. And by that time, there's not going to be room for them at all. Instead, they think, well, I mean, there's not going to be anybody sitting on the beach, obviously. Yeah, exactly. It's just smart, safe play. Really great play from Knights. They come down, they take the hill here, and they push on in. Just picture perfect rotation from Knights. Really smart play. VG, the last or like slowest team to make the push. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Everybody are forcing themselves. Oh no, we need to get in. We need to get in. VG saying, you know what? We'll let all these guys push in. We'll let all them stress and hurry. Wait. We'll let all these guys stress and hurry to get a position in the circle, and then we'll just lay back. We'll just chill. No stress. No stress. So all these teams in Therapy, they end up fighting each other. Vitality ends up fighting NIP. Cloud9, they're sitting dead center. So of course, odds are that they will get a circle. Again, Chippy, thanks for the follow. Fight Me Now goes up on the hill. Molly Boy comes with him. The other guys try to get up there as well. Navi now spots out them. Circle goes onto Cinder onto Cloud9. They're sitting in the middle. And I mean, they're doing it smart here. Because what you normally see, or like what you've seen before from Navi is, not from Navi, from Cloud9, is that if they're sitting in the center of the circle, they'll sit together, kind of, right? They'll sit 4 guys together. But here, they know that they've cleared the area that they're in, obviously. And the more they clear, the more they can spread out and take control. Like, they're really, really comfortable with each other. Like, they have, what do you call it? They just play around. Like, they hold each other's backs, but they play together smart. So they don't need to sit on top of each other. They have faith that he will hold my back even though we split. So they spread out to take some control. Smart in that sense. VG, once again, out in the open. Navi, they're pushing out of the zigzag compound up here. Secret, they get toasted. Smithy tries to crawl on in. Wait, do we have... There we go. Now we don't see the activate windows thing. Haha. Cloud9 again, pushing out to take control. They leave K-Mind in center so that they don't lose mid control. Battlein tries to push forward, doesn't happen. He manages to take him out. Snake, they're still sitting at gas station. They need to push forward. They try to do so, but they all just come into a cluster fight. Smithy, sneaky snaking his way forward. Morningstar, sneaky snaking his way forward. And right now, all these players are within a distance that, you know how fully it's like at a certain range, you won't see the grass out in the field. It'll just be like flat as a pancake, right? Here, they're also close that the grass is there. And bushes and stuff as well. Knights trying to push across. They get taken out by Shadow. Face, they need to cut across at some point. And right now, this is just because they all have to go uphill up towards Cloud9. They just sit up here and they take out everyone. They got like 22 kills this game. Liquid come up. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. Without losing a single person, they take out all of Liquid. They just played really well. I mean, their team fighting, Cloud9, is insanely good. They do get circles in their favor, but they also take center. So it works for them, right? Base. Trying to push up. Not gonna happen. Smithy gets spotted out. He's gonna go down. And then as we talked about before, alright, as all these people try to rotate down, look at these guys. Keep your eyes on these guys. Who's the only one alive in the end? It's our good friend Morningstar. You can do so much with all those chaos moments, but sometimes, honestly, when you get hard shifted away from, the best thing you can do is just say, you know what? We'll let all of the other guys worry about the chaos, and then we'll play it smart. So as you can see, ping, bomb, boom, like a pinball ball, ping pong ball. What do you call it? Pinball? Just flying around trying to find them. In the end, Morningstar goes down to the circle, and Cloud9 wins the game with, yeah, I believe something like 22 kills, I think they had. 7, 14, yeah, 22. Nerve only had 2 kills. Oh my god, so bad. No, I'm just kidding. Really great play by the guys. Really great. Nothing there. They had 1 kill, VG. I mean, they had under... they actually had exactly 100 damage total, VG. 100 damage total through that entire game. I mean, also this goes to show, right? Because as you can see in the stats here, Cloud9, they win the game with 22 kills. That's technically, I know it's, you can't really compare it like that, but technically, that's 4.5 team, 5.5 team make that. They've eliminated. And they've only rested 3 times. They've only rested each other 3 times throughout 5.5 full team wipes. I know it's not exactly how the fights went down, but still, everything considered, they have taken a full 4-man team more often than they've had to wrestle 1 guy in the entire game. They've killed average, like for every time they've had 1 guy knocked, they've killed 7 players. I mean, that's pretty impressive, gotta say. Now, do we have anything that we need to talk about before we go into into Miramar, or do you guys just want to go straight for it? Do you have anything you wanna talk about, guys? Anything at all? Anything you think is mention worthy? Let me know. I'm ready for your questions. Fire away. Who will win PGL? Oops. Who will win PGL? Should we? Let's take a look at the overall scoreboard, shall we? What is it called? PGL, PUBG, PGL Esports. There you go. Watch. I don't know. I don't really like the way that this is set up. Live stream standings. Let's see here. Oops. Okay. Oh, of course, and this is okay. So we'll just set it up like this. Be better. So these are the standing right now. Cloud9, they're sitting in first place with 6,000, almost 7,000 points. One win behind ish FaZe. One win behind FaZe is Liquid. I mean, the thing is with Cloud9, over the past 2 days, they won. I wouldn't have expected them to do anything. They had some pretty bad games there. But not only have they racked up a lot of kills the last 2 days, but they've also been able to get to late game, even in games where they haven't really had the best circles and whatnot. So, I mean, if Cloud9 can do tomorrow what they've done today, then that would be obvious that they will win because they're in the first place. But then again, I mean, there are still 6 games left. Imagine if Cloud9 get like 2 or 3 bad games in a row. All of a sudden, depending, of course, on who does good in those 3 games, this could be very, very different. I mean, it's 500 points for a win, right? So, I mean, even though you're sitting down here, you can still make it up. Maybe not first place, but second place. So not only do Cloud9 need to maintain their position tomorrow, they also still kind of have to actually play it good. So I don't know. We'll have to. It's a tricky question. A lot of things can happen in PUBG. Fortunately, that's what makes it so exciting, right? Let's do this again. We don't want to look at the activate Windows thing. Anything else? Any other questions? Anything like that you guys want to know? I'll just go get some water real quick. Let me know if you have any questions. Write them in the chat, and then we'll talk about stuff. That's why we're here, right? No more questions. Okay, let's go straight into game number 4. We'll pause you, and then we'll get ready with game number 4. Plane a little south. We need to get a tool for this. Drawing these planes are never easy. Either way, it goes south, and interesting to me, FaZe, they've kind of done what Navi does on a Rankle, Snake does as well, like plane dependent drops. FaZe has started doing on Miramar as well, realizing that it's Miramar. You don't really need. Oh, sorry for yelling, guys. You don't really need a set area of the map to loot up in order to do good on Miramar. So the plane went up here. They say, you know what, let's just jump out immediately. There's no reason for us to try and fly up here and fly out here and loot. We might as well just jump out early, get looted up, and then take it as it comes. Same thing with Divine. They're doing the exact same thing. Normally you'd think that they would go up to El Pozo, but nope. They're just sticking around Val del Mar, and then they'll get looted up there. So other than that, not really anything out of the ordinary. Teams loots down south. Yeah, pretty straightforward, really. Not a whole lot of surprises. Again, any questions, guys? Throw them at me. I'm ready to answer them, or at least try to. Snake comes underneath. Pretty much the only rotation they can do, and they know that there's a lot of teams looting these areas. So that's the thing, right? Because on Miramar, if you're not looting a city, or even more so, if you are looting a city, for example, not Los Leones, for example here, all of Secret, they're inside Chumacero, they're looting that. Let's forget about Feint for a sec. But these guys looting here. In Picado, we have all of Cloud9 looting inside there, right? But for all these other areas where people sort of split out into the smaller areas to get looted, when you try to push in as a team, especially if you're like a scout trying to push in, when would you want to push? And you guys can try and answer me this. When would you want to push? If you want to push in early, do you want to push when the teams that are looting split are still split? Or do you want to, like, what would you rather have? What would you rather have? That you push one of these 4 compounds, right? Let's say you're Snake. What would you rather do? Push a compound knowing that there was one guy, or push a compound where there would be potentially 4 guys, 0 guys, 0 guys, 0 guys, but you don't know which compound there's 4 guys in. What would you rather do? Take a fight, but you would have to take a fight, but it would only be 1 guy, but you would potentially lose 1 or 2 players because you have to drive up to the compound first, right? Or maybe like 3 out of 4 chance that you don't have to take a fight, but if you do have to take a fight, then it's against 4 people instead. So what would you rather do? And hey, Princess KS. Sorry, my nose is being annoying. I think I would rather do the last. Because if you rotate too early, then you're gonna run into all these teams while they're still in their looting phase. Okay, I'll just call you Princess. Fair enough, I'll do that. I can call you PC. Haha, that's funny because it's video games. But no, I'll just call you Princess. That's all good. No, but you don't want to get screwed over like that. So that makes sense. That they don't like full on just plow on in. Now they do come in. You can see they slow down, they scout forward, they try to secure themselves a spot, and they do manage to get one. Atletico, they need to start pushing down. NIP need to get their way inside the circle. Divine, instead of going underneath like they saw FaZe do, decide to go up above and over Chumacero. Smart play from them. They sit up here on the top. They scout a bit further forward. They can get the last necessary loot things, and then they'll be good off of that. Look at NIP. They come in really late to this circle, right? And normally, this is where it's fun, because normally I like to always draw the circle center and then say, oh, this is where all the people are, right? But if we draw a circle center here, this is not where people are. This is where Los Leones is. And nobody goes to Los Leones. I mean, you do have example and the guys from M19 sitting on each their side, but nobody goes to Los Leones. So the circle center where we'd normally see people has been pushed up north actually. And NIP, I mean, sorry, they will know this as they come driving down, because they will, first of all, they will hear all the shots being fired, and second of all, when they come up over the ridge line, they will see like everything going on around here. So they play it safe. They go up to the plateau up here by the crater. There's like a bit of a crater that goes downhill in here. They sit up on the crater. They wait for the new circle. It's on them-ish again, but they decide to continue moving forward. In the meantime, you see all the teams that were sitting on the southern side, they decide to make their way up. Base actually go around the other side, trying to pick off Nikki, but he manages to stay alive. Atletico, with their rotation, again, a good one on that. They're coming in super late. And as we talk about, look at this. If we draw the circle center, where all the people are, right? New circle pops. All you have to avoid here, because now they're taking fire by Snake as well, right? All you have to avoid here is this cluster. And what better way to do it than just going underneath? Look at how much space you have down here. If you avoid, like if you ignore these three teams trying to make their way in, because they will push further in. If you ignore them, look at how much space Atletico has to move in. So smart play coming from them. Going all the way in there. 4AM does the exact same thing. They just do it from the other side. Look at this. The circle pups. New circle pups, right? 4AM, they're actually almost inside Los Leones. They're sitting down here by the time the new circle pops. Or a little buff, I guess. They're sitting up here. 4AM looted Los Leones. Look at how they rotate. Keep an eye on 4AM, how they rotate from this. This is after the circle pops. The only issue with this rotation, because the idea is really good, they sit here and instead of just going in here, they go all the way over and around. The only issue with this push is that they don't really take into account, first of all, how long time it will take to do. Because by the time they get over and above, the teams that were sitting outside of them, the teams that are sitting out here, that also wanted to do the same thing, they're gonna be 10,000 years ahead of them. Like they'll rotate, they'll be down here by the time that that 4 Anchormen will be up here, maybe. So even though it's a smart rotation from 4AM going all the way around, instead of just going through the city, by the time that they come over to the other side, all the stuff that they could have played around has already been taken by the teams that just had to do this instead of this. How did they find out that the best way was to go south? I mean, they came in late. They had no info, right? They're sitting up here. And they go out on the coast. And as soon as they come into the circle here, they're sitting on the edge, waiting for the new circle to pop. As soon as the new circle pops, and they want to go in, they start taking fire from Snake. Snake pushed them out. Now they realize, okay, so everybody has just heard that people were shooting out here, which means we cannot go down here and go in. We cannot go in here like this, because you don't want to be in the city. I mean, think of this area is a do not go here. Like a big no. You do not want to be here. So if you want to get inside this circle, and this entire area here is a no zone, and you've just taken fire from here, meaning that you cannot really go here either, what do you do? If this is not accessible, like if this point down to this point, if all of this is a no-no, what can you do? Either you go back where you came from, you drive north, or you go underneath and drive south. And because the circle, the way it is, they know that there are many southern teams. And what does a southern team that is sitting down here do when the first circle is here? They will push up. And when the next circle goes north, it's not that far north, it's more center. But when the next circle goes inland and north, all the teams that before were down here, like all the teams that were here, they have pushed in this way. So for Atletico, smart rotation from them, honestly, to go all the way underneath, because they know that whatever teams that were down here before, they will already have moved in. So at least that's my idea. That's what they thought, because that would be the logic thing to think. No problem. And now they're inside the circle. They don't have a good position. Like they're far out on the edge and everything, but they're inside the circle nonetheless. Princess, what did you say? What do you think did Liquid and FaZe wrong today? I mean, FaZe won a game. That's pretty good. They had a good win today. But there's a lot of things you can't really prepare for, I feel like, in these games. Something is circles, something is how some of these teams play. a lot of these teams play very different from what both FaZe and Liquid are used to playing against. And I guess, I mean, in the way that people fight, in the way that they engage, in why and how they engage. It's like, I mean, Liquid, they got screwed over by Team Secret a couple of times. They were forced into fights with Team Secret where they lose one player in the last Miramar games. That screwed them over. So they lose one guy early, and or one or two guys early on, and that just is unfortunate for them, I think, for Liquid. For FaZe, I don't really know. I feel like they had a pretty decent day. I mean, they had a win today, and I didn't really see what was their other placements. I mean, overall, FaZe had a pretty decent day, I think, as well. Hey Toby, do you have any clue what artist songs are being played between the PGL? No idea. It's some pretty ghetto rap music, though, if that's the music you're thinking about. It's some pretty underground hip hop music. I like it. I don't mind it at all. There are some times, though, when, like, in the songs, they will sing stuff that maybe isn't that appropriate. But I mean, that's just how it is. I think it's fun though. I like it. New circle pops. It goes center again. So for the teams that aren't in already, they will have this around or this around to rotate on. As you can see, Atletico, they have all the room in the world in the south. But this also means that for the teams that are sitting on the southern side, they can't really push further in. So this whole go in behind the team kind of thing, it stops here. There's simply not more room to push in. They will try to go even further underneath and get in this way. 4 AM, they try to go out of Picado and drive underneath. It's not really going to be easy. You can see they have to sit here, wait for this team to go in, then they can take their position, then they can go in. It just takes up too much time. The closing time from this circle is too short, and you can see it's already starting to close in now. Now 4 AM makes the push in. Ghost, they try to get in. They're sitting miles out on the edge. VG, sorry, I got hiccups now. VG Gaming, they try to come in, but they're gonna get caught off by NIP. They're just gonna sit and wait for them, and I believe they eliminate them. Well, maybe not. No. And now this rotation again, pretty smart from Atletico. Atletico, they're sitting down here, and they managed to get underneath this all the way up as well. They drive underneath first phase as he's going for the rest. Come underneath as they try to push up, but again, now it's just gonna get even smaller and even more clumsy. They still have 3 guys alive though. Divine as well have been playing the southern side throughout this entire match. Knights, they've just been sitting in here and holding people away. I like what Knights have been doing. They've just been sitting inside the compound and trying to shoot at everyone because they do not want to have anyone push their compound. To shoot out in all directions. You see one tries to come in, Phosphase tries to come in, Aetsa gets taken down. Now, Nikki somehow manages to escape through Atletico. See him just going through there. McClutch tries to get in, but this is the death, right? I mean, this right here, they have to cross this road. This is a big rip area. So unfortunately for the guys down here, they have to cross. There's no cover here at all. They all get taken down. For the people, they have high ground position. They can just shoot down in these directions. And also M19, they can sit here and shoot over. So all these teams, they try to push on in. Knights, they're in a little tough area where they need to figure out, do we want to push in and take position, or do we want to take out M19 and then go in? Because we cannot really just go in and then they can shoot us in the back. So they're forced to fight here. They get one guy knocked, but they get all up. I mean, this was a good fight from Knights. Now they start pushing, try to push in. 2 of the guys goes down, 1 more goes down. Drayden is all by himself all of a sudden. Pretty YOLO push, but they had nowhere to go here. They really had nowhere to go. All they could do was try to make it across. NIP, they have a perfect position up here. They can see the entire field, but Vitality cannot see them. There's a ridge here. So Vitality cannot see them, but NIP can see everything. So they can play, they send NBS and Gaxi into the field, and then they can just sit and shoot over them. And they can sit down here, they can hold off. They can hold off Vitality while these guys shoot down. And then when they want to push down, after they've cleared off all of these people, then as these guys, they want to come down, then they can hold off Vitality. So it's pretty smart team play in that sense. Pretty smart team play, actually. They get all these guys eliminated, like everyone down here gets eliminated. They now realize, okay, we only have these guys remaining. They will shoot up while these guys can push down. And they never really need to do that because now they get the circle onto the two teammates. So as they try to push down, they take them out. And Yannick almost, I believe, almost clutches this one. It's like a 1v1 in the end, but it's going to be Gaxi with the win at NIP. Take game number 4. So not a whole lot more to it. Again, if you guys have questions, please throw them at me. You see, Gaxi had to heal 14 times that games. Ta-da. Music. Game number 5. Can't really figure this out. Give me 1 second. Okay. So game number 5. Second to last game. We talked about that before. I don't know, honestly. I don't really have any favorites. I kind of want Divine to win. Divine, they play extremely smart. They've been very smart, Divine. And they also have 5 wins, right? So they just don't have so many kills. But that's because they don't go for kills. I mean, they just play for placement. And they do it really, really smart. Also, guys, can I show you a music video? I saw a video the other day. It's extremely weird. Watch this video. I don't understand this video. Maybe you guys do. Can you explain to me the logic in this? Are you ready for this video? This is the weirdest thing in the world. I saw it earlier today. I don't understand it. Look at her eyes. She's so scary. This is so weird. I watched it earlier today and I just didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, I don't understand it. But I was like, even though I was feeling like that, I was like, I have to watch it. I need to watch this.
Come to me, give it all to me.
And it only gets weirder. It only gets weirder. It only gets weirder. They walk like this all the time. I like it when he's... Look at now, he gets a bottle of vodka and then he tries to drink it.
I'm falling, waiting for you to say I want you. Baby like horse loves hey, I want you. Together like 1, 2. Baby come to me right now, give it all to me.
It's so weird. don't understand it. I can link it too, guys. That's fine. Here you go. It makes no sense. Why do they walk like this? And then they see a cats. It makes no sense. And now they have to battle these other bad guys. Maybe we could teach someone this dance. This would be like the new Fortnite dance. I'm so confused by this. And it just continues. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Pretty much. Pretty much the weirdest thing in the world. Nonetheless, let's get into Skibbity Pop Pop Pow. Don't pause it. We need to see it to the end. No, we really don't. Skibbity pop pop pow. Yeah, that was interesting. I just had to share it with you guys, so now I'm not the only one that knows that this video exists. Maybe it'll be like the next big what do you call it? Like the next what's his name? A Gangnam Style. Maybe it'll be the next Gangnam Style video. Skibbity pop pop pow. Now you got that song stuck to your head. You can listen to that all day. All night. Either way, let's get into game number 5. Plane is somewhat south. Base, of course, going back to where they were before. Divine doing the same thing. And northern circle. What do you mean? What do you mean, Tech? OMG, they rotate in extremely early. Snake do the same thing. Yeah, and for all the teams that rotate in here, it's really not too surprising, honestly. Phase, they decide to go around. So instead of just going inside the circle, they decide to say, you know what, we'll just go all the way north instead, and then they can push down from here. Divine could potentially have done the same thing. We've seen them do that so many times. Oh, I do? Huh. I normally don't use that. I guess oh yeah, I had better Twitch TV emotes on when I had better Twitch TV emotes on in the beginning, but then I got partnered and I guess I just forgot to remove them. I don't know how it works, honestly. No, but Divine, they decide to go in straight instead of going around the top. They think that they're early, but there's so many other teams rotating before them, so it's kind of interesting. All these other teams try to rotate up. And this is interesting because Ghost, they're looting Impala, right? And they know that they're coming in late. Now look what happens as the new circle pops. Circle goes south. And then you would think, because they rotated, I mean, they rotated from here, right? They rotated around this way. Why not just go back and then go in? You have so much room up here that you can take. Instead, what they do is that they sit up here and try to scout forward. And then they just go up on the northern side. You see, Navi, they do it. Navi, they do the smart thing. They come up this way. Look at Navi. They're over here. Navi, they come up like this. New circle pops. And instead of continuing over the northern side, they say, we can just go in from the south side. And then we can get a position in the circle there. Of course, they don't know the next 3 circles will hard shift north. Ha 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 ha. But no, they do actually, they do manage to get inside the circle. So smart. Now, Circle does shift up towards Knights. Fortunately for them, NIP in a good position. They're in a 2-2 split. They will need to reunite somehow, and they do that immediately. Fortunately, right before Ghost managed to come over. Probably sure, not exactly sure what he's doing over here. Probably trying to make sure people aren't pushing, but he gets knocked by Long. Fortunately, we do see Extreme 2G come over for the rest, so they all get back safely inside the compound. New Circle pops, and talking about hard shifts, it's even connecting here. So completely hard shifted up towards Knights. I mean, NIP would be in no matter what, so I guess they're in a good position. But completely hard shifted up towards Knights. Once again, Navi, they've been playing. I mean, they came from here, went underneath, and now they go back the same way. They know that they have the most southern position in the game, and they played extremely smart. They come all the way up here. Now, unfortunately, they push at the same time as Cloud9 push out, so they aren't really allowed to make this push. I think what they wanted to do was to drive over and then go up here, but because Cloud9 kind of come in, like, or not Cloud9, because Vitality drive across, you can see it here, because they drive across from over here, and they kind of block them off in their rotation. You can see they're coming across right there at the same time, so they didn't want to continue their route this way, so they're forced to just kind of jump off down here, and then they get screwed over because of its setup, and the only player surviving, but in the end he goes down as well. So unfortunately for Navi, they go out real early. McCoy, last player alive for his team, he goes out. Base try to see if they can do anything from their position. They're getting completely overrun by Snake. Somehow they all managed to not to stay alive, but to take out Snake. 8C and Mexi managing to survive that. VG, smart rotation from them. Actually, they're sitting out on the edge, right? They're sitting, look up here. They're sitting far edge. New Circle pops. They send one guy down. They go down to him. Send next guy up. He comes down to him. And now they scout further forward. They come over to them. They just, I mean, VC just played extremely smart. They don't have, I feel like, the strongest team fight or like maybe aim mechanical plays, but their ability to rotate together is extremely good. They just sort of lack the firepower, like you see teams like Cloud9 and other teams have. So they sit up on the northern side, hope that the circle will shift over to their side of the road. In the meantime, the entire south is just one big hellhole. Knights, they're happy sitting inside their little compound down here. M19 gets picked apart. NIP try to push forward. They run straight into Vitality. Vitality's some really smart timing with their third party. Come over here. Wanderer tries to run off. He gets spotted out, I believe, by Atletico. VG try to push across. They're not allowed to do that. And now Vitality, I mean, Vitality has this hilltop up here. What's going on? Internet? Hello? Are we back to normal internet now? Yes, we are. Why they use guns? What do you mean? Okay, I think we're back to normal connection now. I don't know what happened there. So Vitality, they're in, like, they have the entire hilltop up here. Everything is downhill from like from the area that they're in, and it's also downhill on the other side. They can technically just lay low up here, but at the same time they know that they have Knights inside the compound and they want to contain them down there, because if Knights are allowed to push up here, like on the side of the hill, then it all of a sudden becomes extremely hard for Vitality to do anything, because then they can't really use their freedom, because they will constantly have to worry about heads peeking up over the top. Oh, that's because that's what the game's all about, chap. That's just how it is. Brutality and murder. That's what people like, you know? Action movies. Jackass. It all has to be with pain. It's crazy, but that's just the mad world that we live in. So ATH or Atletico managed to come down and get the finish off onto Vici Gaming. Vitality, still 4 guys alive, sitting up on the top. What do you want? Death. I'm God tier. I will explain to you real quick. It's a program made by Other Production down here, and I'm testing it out for them. So it's not a production, a product, a program that anyone else can get right now. It's only for me. And it doesn't really have a name, I think. It's just their software that they've created. And no, not yet, at least. People, I don't know what their plan is with it. I'm just testing it for them. But yeah, knights, they're sitting inside this compound. All knights need, because they, of course, they want to push up the hill. Especially with this circle, they kind of just run around down here in the open. Also because they know that Atletico is over here. So they need to get up here somehow. They can swoop around, like it goes steep downhill here. And then there's kind of a little area you can run up over here on the side. What they need right now is to get a knock onto one of the guys up the hill so that they can push up. And I actually believe they play this one extremely smart. Kramer, he sits back, he tries to peek up while Voxic and Drayden make a run forward. So all these three guys, they'll make a push forward. Texas runs up here, Drayden runs up here. They try to split off on either side. And Kramer sits back and tries to do some damage. Now Shadow gets knocked, and this is where they realize we need to push on this. So Shadow gets knocked, Yannick gets knocked, and all of Knights. I mean, this is the way that we've seen Knights play before. This is the way that we've seen Knights play before. And this is how they play well. And this game, it just really worked for them. They do everything they need. Boom, 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 boom. They take them all out. This is the Knights that we're used to seeing, right? Two guys go down. They do get the rest back up. And now, fortunately, Neverhor didn't push on that because he would have a 1v1 before they were resting. And now it's 2v1 in the favor of Knights. They have the high ground. I think Lexi and Neverhor, they have some trees they're hiding behind. But they have to leave those trees and push up before Knights. They need to like jump down the hill. So they have the better position. And just like that, skibbity bop bop bop, they are able to win the game. So finally, we see Knights on the scoreboard. They don't have that many kills, but again, I mean, they were sitting in the compound for the majority of the game. Actually, their only games... No, they got 2 other kills. Their only kills they had in that game, other than that, were on Vitality. So they had 2 kills on Vitality, or 4 kills on Vitality, 2 kills on... Yeah, so they only had 2 kills coming into the last end of the games. Yeah, but there are no swords in this game, only machetes, and they're not really swords. They're like jungle swords. But really well played by Knights. I mean, in the end, when they pushed up, Kramer was probably the MVP for the team there. He was the one who got the knock that allowed for them to push up the hill. So, in the end, really, really well played by Knights. Because there's a K in that word, you know, so it's Knights. Do we want to watch the video again while we wait for the next game? We don't have to wait for the next game because it's already here. But we can just fast forward it to the end so you guys can see the end of it. Are you ready for this? Just watch the end of this video. Godzilla comes in and dances too. It's the weirdest thing in the world. This is so... Do we want to play it in 2 times speed? Do we even dare to do that? Okay, we'll play the start of it in 2 times speed and see what happens. Is there still audio when you play it double speed? Yeah. This is dumb. It actually, I think it's too fast. We need to have it in like 1.5. That's better. This is like the type of video you would use for brainwashing people. What the actual fuck? Can we make this into a GIF? Can we make this? It's just the part right here. This right there should be a GIF. If one of you guys can make this into a GIF, I will put that as my my subscriber. What do you call it? Like video that comes up. Just this. Just the guy punching in the air while trying to drink. That's gonna be my subscription like box thingy. That's so stupid. Oh, this is dumb. This is stupid. So far beyond stupid. I can barely play PUBG. Nevertheless, make GIFs. Yeah, same. I mean, I can play PUBG, but I've never made a GIF before. Oh my god, that was dumb and funny. That's so stupid. So stupid. One more game, guys. One more game to decide everything. Not really, but there's one more game left of the tournament. No, of the tournament day, I guess you can say. The day, what do you call it? The play day. Game number of day 3. Generous. Genius and good are the words you're looking for. Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, we'll see. So plain, fairly decent. Again, same thing as before with Divine and Face. They go north instead of south. This time around though, the circle not so much in their favor. Miles out on the east, and this is where we before have seen Face go like way above like this, like way up north of what do you call it? North of Oasis. This time around, they don't seem to want to do that though. We'll have to see just what's gonna happen. Secret, start looting spread. I'm not sure exactly what James is doing way over there, but he gets his loot game going as well. Now everybody starts their rotation. You can kind of see the minute marker, which always happens, right? Look at how people are just looting, and then all of a sudden, like everybody starts going in towards kind of the center of the circle. Just look, looting, and everybody starts making their way on in. All these rotations start happening, and as that happens, you can see James is making his way forward here as well. Everybody going on in Face this time around, not going all the way north. They actually go straight through St. Martin. Kind of surprising, because Divine do decide to take the northern route. You keep that in mind for later games. See how that impacts their games. Secret, they come from south. Knights, they decide to sit on the western side of Minas Generadas. And then as the new circle pops, who has the better position now? Knights. Who would you say, guys? Who would you say has the better position now? Face or Divine? Oh no. But it has free GIF maker in the corner of the screen though. That ain't Gosu. We need it to be a smooth, crisp, clean GIF that doesn't get interrupted. I guess I could, I mean, technically I could just save that video and do it myself. I just can't be bothered to make. Also, then I need music that fits with the GIF if I want to do that. It is pretty fun though. I would probably consider using that just for the sake of it. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I guess I don't care. That could be funny. No, anyway, who would you say has the better position off of what they like, how they decided to rotate? Divine sitting up here, or Face sitting down here? Yeah, I could just use the song itself. Skibbity pa pa pow. Trigger Rampage in chat. No, not really. I mean, I saw Moses that he tweeted that he was gonna say stuff to people or something like that, but I never really paid a lot of attention to it. I was just watching the games. I was spending more time doing that. Normally when I'm watching the games, so the way that I watch these games is that on I have 3 monitors. I have 3 monitors here. You guys can, or you cannot see it, but yeah, I have 3 monitors, and what I would normally do is that I'll have the, like, my screen in front of me. I can probably actually show you guys. Oh, 1 second. The big setup tour of Toby, by the way. So watch this. I have 1 monitor over here where I have OBS on, right? Then I have a monitor in front of me. Then I have one over on the right with the chat and like Streamlabs and all that stuff. So what I would normally do is that my left monitor is that's just OBS. I used it for that. Then my main monitor, I will have. I'm not streaming obviously when I'm doing this stuff, or like when I'm watching the games, because I'm not streaming or casting them. So what I will do normally is that I will have the my main monitor is the map stream, and only the map stream. I get so much more from just watching the map stream. Then on my left monitor, I will have the in-game, but I will mute that, because if I'm focused, like when I'm watching, just like now, we can put this to real time. This is like watching the map stream, right? So I'll just sit and look at this, see, what's happening, who's going where. And then of course, when you're watching real time, you can see every time people are shooting, and you can see the kill feed and all that stuff, which is it's all things that are going to be added to this program as well. But this is still the early version of the program. But you can see all those extra things, right? So it's not just like looking at this. But I'll sit here and I'll look at the map stream. And then I don't want to have the caster audio, because if I'm looking at Divine, how they're going to rotate, then it's disturbing to me that casters are talking about, oh, look at this, FaZe are pushing OMG. Because then I'll be like, oh wait, are they? And then I lose track of what I was actually looking at. So I like to just have the map stream in front of me, and on my left monitor I'll have the in-game, but just the video. And then on my right monitor, I'll, like, if I'm talking to people or discussing the games or stuff, I'll have that open. That'll just be like my third browser for whatever. That's normally how I'll watch the games. And I normally have my maps, like both of my game screens on full screen, so I don't pay that much attention to the chat. If something happens, I'll write it in the chat. Like I'll press escape, and then I'll write it in the chat and say, oh, look at what Divine is doing right now. Because it can be interesting for the viewer. Like if the stream is covering a fight, for example, and they're showing the map, and somebody just said, oh my god, look at Divine, what they're doing. Then while the map is up, even though the stream is talking about, oh, NIP and Vitality, they're fighting each other, then your eyes will go up and be like, oh, look at what they're doing. And then that will be interesting as well. So I try to do those things when I'm watching the games, but I don't really pay too much attention to what's going on in the chat. I normally have both of my screens on full screen, like for the game, so I can't really see the chat anyway. Some people like to look at the chat a lot while they're casting, and also while they're just while they're watching games. I don't know, it distracts me more than it helps me, I feel like. Especially when I'm commentating. It's only if I, like, for example, when sometimes, if you guys have seen when I cast, I will say, hey guys, I just put this setting on so the nades are different colors. Let me know what you think of it. And then I will look at the clock, like the timer, when I say it. So right now it's 6 minutes past 9. I will look at the timer, and then I'll say, oh, there's a 10-minute delay in today's games. And then I'll make sure to have the chat open. And then when it's 21:16, I'll try and look over and see what you guys answered, because there's a delay, obviously. Yeah, exactly, Shep. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. I'd sometimes look at the chat after. Like after I'm done playing or casting. I will go back and look at the videos, and especially if something fun happened. Like not too long ago we had the what was that? That was in Polaris in the tournament. We had like the thing where Singularity pretty much ran over Like, they came in with 4 vehicles, smashed into other parked vehicles, and killed people. That was just extremely hilarious. And because of that, I just wanted to see the chat's reaction. So I made sure to, like, have the chat open while I was casting and observing to just see, like, how they reacted. And it was, of course, all just like, lul, 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 ha, ha, ha. And that was kind of entertaining. But, no, other than that, I don't like to spend too much time looking at the chat. Especially not if I am currently casting, because that'll just, I mean, that's just unnecessary, what do you call it, like disturbing unnecessary element that you don't need when you're commentating. At least I don't. I mean, if people like to do it, then sure, go ahead, but I don't feel like it brings anything to the casting. And I don't, especially if there's a delay, then it makes even less sense. Yeah, but that's enough about that. So everybody starts rotating on in. You can see from the southern side, teams are making their way forward as well. Circle pops. Knights, they need to figure out how they want to push this. They do decide to push up, but look who's waiting for them. Liquid. They all have their vehicles with them. And Liquid, fortunately for Knights, fighting NIP right now. They'll be able to just stay put for a little while. Everybody's still inside the circle. I mean, we have teams have been eliminated, but other than that, everyone is still up and running here. Now, new circle pops. Hard shifts northwest. Has to go away from water. Not that there's that much water, but it goes away from water nonetheless. Wait, does it? No, it doesn't. It's the next circle that does that. Sorry, that's my bad. But goes up here nonetheless. And then now you have these sort of... honestly, end game in this area. I'm gonna mark it here. You have the road down here, and you have this area. Everything in this area, I think, is just bleh. I do not like end games here. First of all, you have this valley, which is extremely horrible. It's like water. You might as well just have water in it. It might as well just be water here. Like, you don't want to get trapped down here. Then you're like freaking Mufasa and Lion King. Like, you do not want to be trapped down here. The animals will come and they will run you over. And you will die. That's how sad of an area it is. And then you have the entire top here, which looks extremely hilly and stuff, but it's only up here really that there's a lot of hills. Everything down here just becomes extreme. It's not flat, it's just flat with boulders and like rolls all over the place. So it's really hard to play around, and everything kind of just goes down towards this never-ending area of death that you don't want to be stuck in. So extremely hard place to really play around. Nonetheless, teams rotate in. Navi allowed to push in, and once again Ghost, I mean, they just really, this has been such a surprise to me. It must be because they've changed out players recently and Fröhlicher is now the IGL. I'm so surprised by how little Ghost likes to play center. They constantly sit out on the edge and play around there. Then they'll push a bit in, but then they don't do anything off of that either. Secret try to push up, they get spotted by Liquid. Back off and try to go around the other way. Knights now spotting Liquid as well. Trying to see if they can do something off of that. Not really anything happening immediately. Phase, they try to push down to the compound. OMG is already in there. They realize that and they'll push out of it. Not a whole lot to that either. And now once again, Ghost forced into a fight because they are sitting on the edge. There's just not a whole lot more they can do from here really. And now McCoy all by himself, 1v2, has to take out both of the guys from Vici, and they go out in, I believe, 16th place this game. I don't know where else they could have went when they came up here. You see they're down by the water. And as the circle pops, I guess what they could have done potentially would have been to go underneath on the edge. Or all this way around. Like, had they gone all the way around here, how did they come up here? They just drove from south, right? They were even looting here. They were around this area to begin with. Okay, so they get 2 circles towards them. And then as the next circle pops, they don't really have any info other than the area that they're in. So what they could have done, I mean, this is obviously the easy way in. But maybe go around the north and in from up here could have been a thing. I mean, I don't know. They would be forced to drive through El Azahar. And again, these are like no-go areas. So I don't know. It's just, again, it's this freaking valley right here that's just you don't want to be around this, and they're forced to play around this area because Navi, they go like they get the they get to rotate before them, so they come in, they're forced to stop here, they kind of just go through, and then they just get screwed over because obviously Vici Gaming hears this and they'll come down towards them. 4am way underneath, smart rotation. M19 way underneath, smart rotation. Unfortunately 4am spends it. What? What is 4am doing all the way down here? Okay, wait, so West and Summer, they get spotted out by M19. Now what does Summer do? Do they die outside the circle? I mean, they're down here right now. What the hell is going on? I did not notice this in the game. Do they make it in? One gets knocked, both dead. Why the hell did they drive all the way around La Bandita? That makes absolutely zero sense. Maybe they wanted to go home. It was the last game. I don't know. Nonetheless, new circle pops. Liquid M19 trapped in the corner down here. They'll have to fight each other. And again, horrible area for this game to end in. You have the entire ridge line down here. Divine, they're playing it really smart. They're sticking inside their compound. They don't really need to do anything aggressive. I believe they do send Jet and Levy up on the edge here to try and see if they can pop some heads and get some aggressive peeks onto people from there, but not really a whole lot happening off of that. Cloud9, they're sitting on the northern side. New circle pops. It's going to go down towards the compound. So pretty much dead center, honestly. Vitality, they're still in Junkyard. They'll be able to play around there. Vici Gaming, they're forced to go down towards the shack. Secret, they come all the way up above them to try and see if they can get a good position. Not sure exactly why they decided to cross. Now they try to cross back around the other way. And then they get kind of caught off trying to do that. Vitality go down low. They fortunately manage to get both the reses back up. Knights, they push up. Cloud9 lose one player. And this is just, I mean, you can analyze a lot from these areas of the map. It's just everything is so damn, I'm not gonna say random, but coincidental in a way. Just because of the terrain that they're in. It's such a rough place to play around. Yeah, people just get picked off because of it. So Divine, they have this really, well, honestly perfect position. Now they do split out. See if they can get Jet and Levy to spot over. That was kind of scary to me. Because nobody's going to be able to push down here. Because if any team goes like this entire line here, if you're anywhere here, you'll be completely, like you'll be walking around here, right? You'll be completely visible to anyone else over here. So you can't really walk around here. So they have like a dead man's area right here that they're safe from. So I was surprised to see that they actually dared to go up. Because if they had gotten knocked, like both Levis and Jet, potentially wouldn't have won the game. Vitality, they start taking fights. Against Cloud9, K-Mine's all on his own. 3 players, and again we talked about how Navi, they have gone from being a super aggressive team to not a scared team, but they just don't really engage in fights at all. And they have, yeah, they've truly done that. So they sit 3 guys with full HP inside one shack. 3 guys with full HP inside the same shack. They're all just hiding in there. And now they're forced out. They start fighting. They get one knock. Then they get knocked. Then one of the Navi guys shoots his teammate. And then they all get killed. And now 4v1. Divine once again winning a game with 4 guys live. And this is why I think Divine, honestly, I don't know if you can say that they deserve to win the tournament. Because a lot of teams do. But they just played it extremely well. Again.